Hey guys, welcome to the Diamond District. So today I wanted to cover one of my favorite mentality shifts that was really introduced to me by a rapper by the name of Skepta. And it was just in a super random Instagram live that I had came across during 2020 when I wasn't working. And I was honestly at my lowest point and I was incredibly depressed. But essentially he covered a lot of different topics, but one of the most important things and more powerful things that he touched on was the concept of being your own best friend. And I loved it. I loved the concept so much that I tattooed it on me because I understood as soon as he said it how powerful and important it is. You see, your mind can make your experience on earth heaven, or it can feel like a prison, because your perspective of yourself, how you think, what you attract, all of these things will determine the quality of your life. Not anything external, because there's people who have less than you who are able to look at these things that you would consider garbage, trash, and they look at them as treasure. They look at them as precious things. They look at them as the things they couldn't even live without. And they're so thankful for them. And they can't believe they were so highly blessed and favored to even be able to have these things. And these are the same things that you couldn't even fathom having to deal with. And that's the important power of perspective. But when it comes to the concept of being your own best friend, it's essentially doing for yourself what you would do for someone you love. And that hits such an important root on so many different issues and topics, because the average person at this point of human history does not actually love themselves. If anything, they love everything they feel like they would want to be. And because they're not that, it's impossible for them to love themselves. And they think that once they become that, that's when they'll finally love themselves. Once they get the house they always wanted, once they get the partner they always wanted, once they get the job, the career they always wanted, they think that that's when they're going to start loving themselves. It's not going to happen, because something in our mind is always going to operate from a place of you're not good enough. So you're going to do what I call simply moving the goalposts, meaning that what would have made you happy last year has now doubled in effort, has now gotten further, and it's going to take more work and more external things and more external rewards for you to try to see yourself in a better light. But the thing is, when you start chasing external things for internal validation, it's never going to work. And you're always going to remain in a state of unhappiness. And this is where this concept comes in. So if you suffer from defeatist mentalities, if you suffer from why bothers, if you suffer from I'm just going to stay in bed today, if you suffer from any of those things, then this perspective is for you. There's been so many times in my life where I have literally just been in bed thinking about why the things that I want to do simply are not working. Thinking about why as much as I want to be something, I'm not going to be, because I'm just average. I'm not special. So here I am in bed and I'm beating myself up, literally harming myself, torturing myself mentally. That's the opposite of being your own best friend. I was being my own worst enemy. And most people nowadays, that's what you are. You cloud your mind, you run from your problems, you try to find any excuse, any reason to self-sabotage. You're constantly in this state of just self-defeat. It's just literally, you're just self-sabotaging yourself so constantly and so consistently that you don't even notice that you're doing it. And you look at the universe and you're thinking, why me? And the better question is, why are you doing this to yourself? Because it's always that. It's always going to be that. It's never it's never about what people are doing to you or what situations are happening to you. It's more so about how are you handling these situations? How are you seeing these situations? How are you taking them in stride? Now, back to the more so focal point of being your own best friend. You need to support yourself. You need to cheer yourself on. When you're down, you need to tell yourself to get up. When you're in bed and you're sad, you need to tell yourself, bro, get out of bed, do the thing that you know you should be doing right now. And you need to be that for yourself. Because the people in your life, regardless of what they say, they will never be able to be there for you 24/7 in the way that you can be there for you. Your life is only in your hands. So you need to be your biggest cheerleader, and best believe you're going to be your first fan. You have to believe before anybody else does. You have to see yourself the way you project yourself in the future now before anybody else does. You have to know the truth of what you really are about to fucking do and what you're about to bring into this world, into this reality, into this universe. You have to figure those things out, and you have to see it before anybody else does, and you have to believe it. That's called being your own best friend. I was literally just talking to one of my, this man is essentially like my brother. And every time I talk to him, he's going through something, but I understand it's the growing pains of greatness. So anytime I speak to him, I speak into him. I pour into him, and I let him know, look, I'm here to remind you that there's nothing you can't do. I'm here to remind you that you're a person of abundance. I'm here to remind you that anything that you set your sights on, you've accomplished. And even when you're moving in a space of uncertainty, just know that it's just the human mind can't handle not knowing. The human mind can't handle the darkness, but that's where the spirit comes from. The spirit is going to push you through that. And all those things that I was telling him, I had spent weeks prior telling myself that. So I had truly started to develop the ability of being my own best friend. And there's times where I'm talking to my girlfriend and we're having kind of like these circle conversations where she's making a really valid point, and I'm saying, yeah, but, yeah, and, yeah, however. Essentially, I'm just like, I'm bringing things up to not invalidate what she's saying, but to validate how I feel. But the thing is, how I'm feeling in this moment is not a reflection of what I have to offer and the glories that I have to offer. So in those situations where you don't have someone to talk to, which is going to happen often, because the life that you live is only yours, and people cannot always just be there for you. So you have to learn to be there for yourself. You have to learn how to support yourself emotionally. Perk yourself up, cheer yourself up, give yourself a form of encouragement. Give yourself a form of encouragement, and if you can't bring yourself to do it, this is when external content is very helpful. Listening to affirmations, listening to motivational videos, as long as you're also pairing it with action. Because if you're doing all of those things and you're not actually doing anything outside of that, you're fucking delusional. You're fucking delusional. And I'm not even gonna play about that. You're delusional. But don't be delusional. Be your own best friend. And stop wasting your time, stop playing games. Just get to it and encourage yourself during the process, because it's not going to be a short one. And sometimes you're not going to feel good, and you're not going to be able to always have the motivation to do these things. But if you show up, you show yourself some fucking love in the process, you're going to be able to keep going. And if you keep showing yourself love and you keep showing up for yourself, then people will start to follow suit. Be your own best friend. Show up for yourself and keep doing it. And when you get the result that you want, you're going to still keep doing it. Because once you pass that threshold, you're going to realize that the goal was never as important as the actual journey of learning to love yourself.